My first question would be, as a pastor and as an activist, what even drew your attention to that when so many people are saying, we have so many problems here that acting as if those things in other countries are of no significance at all?
I failed the 11th grade, and when I did, my parents sent me to Liberia, West Africa, to live for my senior year. So I went to the embassy school that had students from 42 different countries. As a consequence, when I came back to Morehouse, I was an international studies major. Yes. And my last year for my study abroad, I was an intern for Nelson Mandela. So it's given me a different kind of global view on how to perceive and look at things.
Wow. For now, for the 9th, I know I'm kind of just going everywhere.
Yeah.
For the 9th, was that, whose idea was that to basically to do that?
I was a part of it.
Because the reason I say that is because I feel like, okay, for me, I feel like as a part of young culture, one thing we hear a lot is a lot of rhetoric. We hear a lot of talk and questions being asked, but we don't hear a lot of solutions like that.
Right.
So what can, not even just young culture, but what can we do locally if I leave today, and what can I do tomorrow to do something?
I think what's very critical is voter registration. That has to happen in mass. That everybody was complaining about the attorney in Ferguson, but he had run 5 times unelected, unopposed. So I think that not only do we have to start registering to vote, but we have to start grooming young people to take these positions. We need to be on the Board of Education, on the City Council. That is not out of reach. There are more millennials than there are baby boomers, but we're not exercising our authority and strength.
Wow. Okay, see, the reason I'm kind of like amazed is because that leads kind of into my next question of, so what do you say to those, especially as a pastor? Like, what do you say to those in young culture who, one, have fallen out of the idea of trusting a pastor?
Right.
And then, two, what do you say to those who won't even let you speak to them as an activist?
Right.
Because they don't trust you as a pastor. Because the reason I say it like that is because I do have a lot of friends who, like my father's a pastor, and they would talk to me before they go find a preacher, because they feel like anything they say to them is just wrong. Like they just don't have, I really don't know. They just don't trust them for some type of reason because of the propaganda or something they've seen in their life. So what do you say to somebody who has, I don't want to say fallen out of love with the church, but is just confused about who their leader is as a man of God when you're saying, hey, I got you.
Right.
Like, what do you say to those guys?
Is that people who have gotten a bad haircut don't stop going to barbershops. You find another one. But it's only in the area of faith where you got a bad experience with a pastor, you give up on all churches.
It's true.
So millennials don't not believe in God. They just have a problem with structured faith.
Exactly.
And so it is not their responsibility, it's the church's responsibility.
Right.
That we've got to rebrand ourselves and find a way to rebuild that bridge. When you look at the preponderance of preachers of LA and preachers of Detroit, it's hard then to take it seriously on what is the opposing factor. I think that's part of the issue.
What you see? That's true. I'm just kind of all across the board.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my last question is, how'd you get introduced to Mr. Falcon?
Many years ago, I was National Youth Director of the NAACP. And then I started my church. I was 28. And I preached a sermon that went viral called Why I'm Not a Muslim. And that next Sunday, the Nation of Islam came to my church in mass. So our relationship has not always been harmonious. And the minister at that time was named Minister Jamil. I took it apart piece by piece, limb by limb. And he put me on the phone with the minister, and I had the opportunity to meet him during the Congressional Black Caucus. But it was out of that sermon and attraction that it got that he and I met. So it wasn't always on congenial terms.
Is that still on the internet?
I think they had it blocked, but you can look for it. It may be there somewhere.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's a privilege to meet you. Good luck on your radio show.